what is left behind are tea leaves. So after preparing tea leaves are strained into a strainer, and then all the tea leaves remain in the strainer after the tea is filtered out. So this process is called filtration. Through the method of strainer, if anything is filtered, any liquid is filtered, it is known as filtration. So sometimes during the rainy season, the government municipal water supply, drinking water supply, what we get will be muddy in color, brownish in color. In that stages, the tap water can be muddy during the rainfalls. And then what we can do to clean that impure water, definitely we do the filtration process. So in how many ways we can filter that muddy tap water? By sedimentation and decantation. How? Let that water stand in a glass, let the water stand for some time. At that stage what happens? All the mud particles will settle at the bottom and the pure water will go up. What happens if you take that muddy water in a glass and let it stand for some time without disturbing, say 1 hour? And what happens? The heavyweight particles, the mud, the sand in the water will settle at the bottom and somewhat pure water will float up. In that stage what can you do? Take one more glass and slant it and pour the pure water into the next glass and leaving behind the sand. That is the process by sedimentation and decantation. Understood, right? Take the muddy water in a glass, let it stand for some time. The heavy weighted mud will settle at the bottom, leaving the pure water up. And after 1 hour, take one more glass, slant the first glass, pour the pure water into the other glass, leaving the sand behind. Then you get somewhat filtered water. Then further filtering we have to do. How? By filtering through a piece of cotton cloth. Then take a small cotton cloth. Usually cotton cloth is fine holes inside them. Then this water through a cotton cloth pour into another glass. So this acts like a strainer. So this cotton cloth here acts like a strainer. So this water what you have got after sedimentation and decantation, take it in a glass, strain it through a piece of cotton cloth into another glass. Then further somewhat filtration will happen. Then the water will become somewhat cured. Right? One more method of filtration is through filter paper. You know, filter paper is available easily in the markets in the form of white colored pieces. Fold it into a cone shape. And in this funnel, put the filter paper and mount the funnel to an iron stand. Then in the funnel, put a filter paper. Then pour the water through this funnel paper, into this funnel through the funnel paper. Then what happens? Then take a iron stand, mount a funnel to it. In that funnel, put a filter paper. Fold the filter paper into a cone shape and put it. And the water which was stained from the cotton cloth, pour into this. The filter paper here absorbs the heavy weighted impurities and the pure water will come into the glass beaker kept down. Take a iron stand, mount a funnel to it. In a funnel, put a piece of filter paper, fold it into a cone shape. Then pour water. This filter paper will absorb the sand, the heavy weighted particles, and the pure water will go into the glass kept down. This is one more method of filtration with the help of filter paper. So now we have understood this water can be filtered by many ways: sediment and decantation, filtration through a cotton cloth, or filtration through a filter paper. Filter paper holds the impurities and lets the pure water to fall down. So this is one method of separation, that is filtration. Some more examples of filtration are, if we make fruits and vegetable juices, after making them in a grinder or a juice jar, we filter it before drinking to separate the pulp. Suppose if we are making pineapple juice or if we are making pomegranate juice, then after making the juice we filter it. Or if we are making carrot or beetroot juice, before drinking we filter it through a strainer. So this is all this is again one method of separation through filtration. Then one more method is making of paneer. If we take 1 liter of milk, we can add few drops of vinegar or lemon juice to that milk. Then the milk will curdle. Curdle means the solid part and the liquid part will separate. Then what you do after this solid and liquid part is separate, we have to strain that through a cotton cloth again. So milk is curdled through adding lemon juice or vinegar. Then liquid and solid part are separated. And then the part is strained through a fine cotton cloth. What happens when you strain through a fine cotton cloth? The liquid part will go away and the solid part will be retained in the cotton cloth. So the solid part which was retained in the cotton cloth is nothing but the paneer. also known as the cottage cheese. Paneer is also known as cottage cheese. So paneer is also prepared by filtering the curdled milk through a piece of cotton cloth. So this is about filtration method. So the next method is evaporation. So in the water cycle we have read that water evaporates. How? When there is sunlight, when there is heat, water boils and turns into steam or water vapor. So that is process of conversion of water into water vapor is called evaporation. The water in the daytime due to the sunlight gets heated up, converts into water vapor and goes up into the sky. That process is called evaporation. That is a naturally occurring evaporation. Other than that, if we mix salt and water in a beaker and heat it, or in a pan, if we mix salt and water in a pan of water and boil that water on a gas stove, so after some time what happens, the water will reach the boiling point 100 degrees centigrade and all the water will evaporate, leaving the salts behind. Understood, right? In a pan, take a glass of water, add 2 or 3 teaspoons of salt to it, heat the pan over the flame. After some time water reaches the boiling point 100 degrees centigrade. 100 degrees centigrade is the boiling point of water. Then the water starts to convert into water vapor or steam and evaporates into the sky, leaving the salt behind. So that is one method of evaporation, that is separation of substances, separation of salt and water. One more method is how salt is made. You know seawater or ocean water, right? That is usually salty or saline. So sea water is allowed to stand in shallow pits. Shallow is small length pits. Shallow is the opposite of deep. So deep is something very deep, shallow is of less depth. So sea water is kept in a small pits where it is allowed to evaporate. Water gets heated by the sunlight and turns into water vapor through evaporation, leaving behind the solid salts. So sea water, if taken in a small shallow pit and left behind like that for few days, due to the sunlight, the heat, the water gets evaporated by converting into water vapor through evaporation. What happens when the water is evaporated? Salts will be left behind because sea water is salty or saline in nature. So these salts are nothing but the common salt what we use. So these salts are the mixture of some salts. By further purifying it, we get the common salt, what we eat in our food. So common salt is obtained from this mixture of solid salts by further purification. So by evaporation process, usually salt is prepared. Sea water is evaporated in solid pits. Water converts into water vapor by evaporation, leaving behind the salts And these salts, when purified, give us the common salt or sodium chloride, which we consume in our daily food purpose. Till now we have read about single methods of separation, but now we will see more than one method of separation. So at once only, for one thing only, we will use more than two methods for separating any substance. So in this example you are taking a sugar, and in this example you are taking a glass, a transparent ceramic glass, and you are mixing sand, salt and water. Understood? Sand, salt and water solution in a glass. Then what happens? Let it stand for some time. In that solution, after 1 hour, what do you observe? After it stands like that for 1 hour without disturbance, the sand, heavier particle will settle down at the bottom and the salt water will be floating up. So this sand settling at the bottom is sedimentation, and then this salt water which is floating at the top is decantation. Clear, right? Salt, sand and water were mixed in a glass. After some time, after 1 hour, if you observe undisturbed, if it is left undisturbed, sand will settle at the bottom called sedimentation, and then the salt water will stand at the up by decantation. And by again, if you take a strainer and you pour this salt water in it, leaving behind the sand, you get salt water by the process of filtration, right? So after some time, sand will settle at the bottom, that is by sedimentation, and the top salt water will be floating, that is decantation. Again, if you filter this salt water by the filtration method, you get salt water solution. The sand will be left behind. Clear, right? First class, it was a mixture of sand, water and salt. You let it stand for some time without disturbance. Salt settled at the bottom, sand settled at the bottom and salt water floated up. This process of settling of sand at the bottom is sedimentation, and this process of salt water floating at the top is decantation. Then further you have filtered this salt water either with a filter paper or a piece of cotton cloth, you have strained it through a filter, then you get salt water. Here filtration was applied. Sedimentation, decantation and filtration gave you salt water. Then this salt water is taken in a kettle and heated with the help of a burner. Then what happens when the salt water is heated, after some time the water boils. It reaches the boiling point, and then this boiling water will turn into water vapor by the process of evaporation. You remember water cycle, right? Evaporation, condensation and everything. Same thing applies here. When salt water is heated, water will boil after some time and turn into water vapor, that is steam. So salt water was boiled and turned into water vapor. At the place where this, how did it turn into water vapor? By evaporation. And when this water turned into steam or water vapor, and the place where the steam was escaping, there was a plate of ice kept. You have to hold a plate of ice. Because again here the temperatures are heated higher, and here as it reaches the water vapor, reaches the ice, the temperatures are cooler. Then what happens? This water vapor condenses here and turns back into water. So here also two methods are happening. Water is heated by the process called evaporation. By the process of evaporation, water turned into water vapor and became steam. This steam was cooled with the help of ice. Then condensation happened, and again the water vapor or the steam turned into water with the help of condensation. So here evaporation happened and condensation happened. So after the total water was evaporated, only the salt was left behind in the kettle. So this is the use of more than one method of separation. Here to separate sand, salt and water, we have used sedimentation, decantation, filtration, evaporation, and ice helped in condensation, and lastly the salt was left behind. So this was clear. Now the last topic is, can water dissolve any amount of a substance? Can water dissolve how much ever quantity of substance you add? For this we have to take a glass of water and start adding salt. Take a big packet of salt, say 1 kg or half kg packet, and keep adding salt in the water until the water can no longer dissolve the salt. That means you have to add so much of excess salt that this glass of water cannot dissolve that much amount of salt. Then what we do, we heat this glass of water. On heating, the salt dissolves. In this state, when it was kept away from the flame, in this state when it was kept away from the flame on a table, this glass of water could no longer dissolve salt. But on heating, this salt dissolved in the water. So this is known as saturated solution. Saturated solution means no more salt can be dissolved in a glass of water taken. So the definition of saturated solution is one in which no more of the substance can be dissolved. So when it is kept on a glass, when the glass is kept on a table and it can no longer dissolve the salt, it is known as saturated solution. That means it can no longer dissolve that substance. But when the saturated solution will be heated on a gas burner or a flame, then the salt will be getting dissolved. Understood the difference? Saturated solution is the one in which the salt can no longer be dissolved. But when the saturated solution heated, the salt totally dissolved in it. Why? Because saturation is directly proportional to temperature. As the temperatures increase, that means the water temperature increased, salt dissolved in the water. When the temperatures are again cooled, the salt comes back, right? When the temperatures are increased, when the saturated solution was heated, the salt dissolved in the water. But then after putting off the flame, when the solution cools down, again we get the salt back. So saturation, that means saturation is directly proportional to temperature. As the temperatures increase, the saturated solution will dissolve in the water, and as the temperatures again cool down, we get the salt back in the water. So that is how we have mixed salt saturated solution in water and heated it. Same way, taking the example of sugar. Take a glass of water, mix sugar until you no longer dissolve it. That is a saturated solution of sugar. And when we heat this saturated solution of sugar, it becomes super saturated solution. When saturated solution of sugar is heated, it becomes super saturated solution. That means on heating, the sugar will be dissolved. But when the temperatures are cooled down, that means after switching off the flame, the sugar again reappears as crystals, white colored crystals in the liquid. In that instance, the sugar solution is known as the super saturated solution. On heating the saturated sugar solution, the total amount of sugar dissolved in the water. But on cooling this saturated sugar solution, again the sugar appeared back as crystals. Then it is known as the supersaturated solution. So we can say that more of a substance can be dissolved in a solution by heating it. If you heat a saturated solution of salt or water, you can dissolve it. But on cooling, you get that substance back. So water dissolves in different amount of soluble substances in it. So water dissolves different amount of soluble substances in it. So there is no particular fixed amount that water can dissolve only this much substance. Water can dissolve different amount of soluble substances in it. So this was about the separation of substances. You have read the single methods of separation. You have read more than one methods of separation, and you have understood what is saturated solution and what happens when saturated solutions are heated. Saturation is directly proportional to temperature. So that is the reason saturated solutions are heated, and then the amount of sugar or salt gets dissolved in the heated solution. So that was about the chapter separation of substances.